Depending on how old you are, when you first see the kid from Diane Arbus's hand grenade picture, you might think of Dennis the Menace or maybe Bart Simpson. You'll notice the tilt of the head and his goofy rictus grin. You'll notice how one of his suspenders has fallen loose as if he had just run up to the camera at full speed. Then you might look down and see the claw-like talon posture on his left hand pre-heavy metal days. Finally, of course, you'll notice the hand grenade in the other hand. This photo is often used as anti-war symbolism and sometimes even used as a representation for anarchists. But for me, when I see this, I see myself. I see a goofy kid playing outside with a toy grenade and acting silly for a lady with a camera. I think people make too much of the possible internal themes represented in this one photo and don't take into account just how weird young kids can be. But oftentimes, as photos have a tendency to do, the image has taken upon a life of its own. Arbus photographed a wide range of subjects in her short career as a photographer, from strippers to carnival workers, from nudists, couples, drag queens to middle-class families. Her subjects typically appeared front-facing and in familiar settings, their homes, on the street, at work, in the park. Her work is noted for expanding the notions of acceptable subject matter, particularly in the 60s, by befriending her subjects as opposed to objectifying them, presenting them in a way that violated the appropriate distance between photographer and subject, and showing them in a rare state of psychological intensity. She began making portraits in 1962 using a symmetrical frontal view where the subject took center position in the frame. She was interested in the type of people building their own worlds and those she viewed as being trapped in a uniform that no longer provided any service or comfort. The boy in the photo is named Colin Wood, and he doesn't remember having the picture taken. He was only 7 at the time, but wouldn't see the actual print until he was in his early teens. Arbus recalled finding him in a park playing and circled around him as she tried to get the right angle. Wood recalled he probably made that face as he was imitating the faces he saw in war movies, a genre he was into at the time. Arbus said at some point of her circling around him, he groaned, "Take the picture already." Wood remembers that he was an angry kid around the time this photo was taken. Quote, "She catches me in a moment of exasperation. It's true, I was exasperated. My parents had divorced and there was a general feeling of loneliness, a sense of being abandoned. I was just exploding. She saw that and it's like commiseration. She captured the loneliness of everyone. It's all people who want to connect but don't know how to connect. And I think that's how she felt about herself. She felt damaged, and she hoped that by wallowing in that feeling through photography, she could transcend herself." End quote. Diane Arbus took many memorable photos over the course of her storied career. In fact, the twins from The Shining are said to be inspired from one of her own photos. Child with Hand Grenade made waves. It was a groundbreaking piece of work and immediately recognized as such, which is why you probably may already recognize it. It's art photography commonly associated with anti-war propaganda and, allegedly, was the source of inspiration for Matt Groening's character of Bart Simpson. At first, Colin Wood didn't like being associated with the photo. When he was in school, some schoolmate found it and stuck it to the lockers. He became well known in his high school as the boy from the Arbus photo. His step-family also didn't take well to it, nor to the way it was originally exhibited as a part of an ongoing collection that focused on unloved and stigmatized Americans. Now in his 60s, Wood recalls, "I was mobile and hostile with a smile on my face." Though he remembers that period in his life as a dark period, he also said it was his happiest. "My parents were divorced, I was pissed off, and I didn't know how to articulate it." Wood's existence is rather ordinary these days. He works as a long-term insurance care agent and has settled down as a family man. But the boy in the photo is frenetic and full of energy. People look at it and look twice in fear of what is to come. But that boy grew up to be a happy man, a father. Wood thinks back on it from time to time and says he sees someone who could grow up to be a bank robber, but he also sees a sensitive soul, a goofball. Born in 1923, Diane Arbus married Alec Arbus in 1941 when she was 18 and soon after began her journey in photography. Her moods influenced her photographic style as she experienced depressive episodes from time to time, commenting that I go up and down a lot. Maybe I've always been like that. Partly what happens, though, is I get filled with energy and joy and I begin lots of things or think about what I want to do and get all breathless with excitement, and then quite suddenly, either through tiredness or disappointment or something more mysterious, the energy vanishes, leaving me harassed, swamped, distraught, frightened by the very things I thought I was eager for. On July 26, 1971, while living in New York City, Arbus killed herself by ingesting barbiturates and cutting her wrists. She wrote the words "Last Supper" in her diary and placed her appointment book on the stairs leading up to the bathroom where she was found by her then boyfriend. She was 48 years old. In her lifetime, she received a fair amount of acclaim and renown, but in spite of being widely published and achieving some artistic recognition, Arbus struggled to support herself through her photography. In that time, collecting works of photographs as art didn't have a big market, and her prints usually sold for around $100. Child with Toy Hand Grenade in Central Park is possibly Diane Arbus's most popular and memorable photos in a long list of images that are still being exhibited, collected, and celebrated today. A print of this photo was sold in 2015 at an auction for $785,000, a record for Arbus.